Well, helping provide more insight on China-U.S. relations is Dan McClory. He's Managing Director and Head of China for Boustead Securities. Dan, thanks so much for joining us. Some tough words there from Wang Yi. At the beginning of the week, we were reporting on comments from the Chinese foreign minister. He said the bilateral relationship is facing its worst strain since 1979. Do you agree with that assessment?
Absolutely. And I think we see kind of what's behind it. I can't overemphasize enough the political dimension here in the U.S. that I think is coloring so much of that dialogue, so much of that outlook that's taking place right now. But it has definitely contributed to extremely worsened relations.
And we've seen in the past with things like tariffs and other actions, a tit-for-tat action. How do you avoid this downward spiral, these sort of back and forths?
I think there's really not relief in sight until after the election. I think it's going to be as cut and dried as that. I think, you know, both sides, Biden and Trump, want to outdo each other sort of against China. Who's stronger, who's tougher. And that banter, that rancor is going to continue because it's emerged as a key issue that they're both using to try to appeal to the electorate.
Yeah, we've seen both campaigns paint China as the boogeyman, but you seem to suggest that the relations could change, or at least perhaps improve, or how would they be different after the November election?
Well, I think more of a sense of calm and normalcy is going to set in. I think that's absolutely going to affect economic relations. But really, you know, we can talk about coronavirus, we can talk about other contentious issues. I think the perception in the U.S., and certainly with the heads of both of those political parties, is that there's kind of this perfect storm going on with everyone in the world being distracted by COVID, and somehow, this is the media narrative, right? Somehow China is out there moving and taking steps and pushing forward their agenda sort of under the cover of COVID. Now, I don't happen to buy into that. I think China has always been on its plan and it's always been moving forward in its direction. I don't think they're unnecessarily, you know, taking advantage of the distraction of COVID to do certain things. But that's certainly the implication in a lot of mainstream media.
The accusation there from Wang Yi that the U.S. has used the epidemic to smear other countries, shift the blame in every possible way. Would you agree? No, I don't agree with that at all. I mean, I think you know, unusually, you know, Trump and the U.S. going in this nationalist direction, he has unintentionally unified a lot of allies, or perhaps even former allies, for this kind of position vis-a-vis China. But I certainly don't agree with that. I think there are far more and more additional issues that the world and the U.S. are observing with China, and it's causing this consternation. I don't think it's as simple as saying it's COVID-inflicted or COVID-driven. We've also seen these sanctions placed by both countries on political officials of various levels. Have you seen any real consequences of those, or is that grandstanding?
Yeah, Roee, I think it is grandstanding. And back to something you said earlier, I mean, that is kind of a tit-for-tat type of a maneuver. So I'm not reading too much into that, other than it gives either side the ability to underscore the particular issue that they want to cite as the basis for putting those bans in place. But I really think that's just kind of, you know, you did it, so I did it.
All right, Dan McClory from Boustead Securities, thanks for joining us.
You're welcome, Roee.